Greetings YouTube! Welcome to the latest video from Life Gaming. Today you will receive and easily comprehend, with a pinch of advice and personal opinion here and there, a brief combination of overview, review and rating of Last Epoch, a hack-and-slash action role-playing game by 11th Hour Games. The names of both the company and the game should speak to you for themselves in their own way already, but somehow you could not yet say the same about Zeiss, huh? So there will be a quick introduction about Zeiss in a way you most probably already look at things, and you could draw your own conclusions whether the opinion of Zeiss and what he does matter to you, so you could decide if you want to keep watching this video, subscribe to the channel and keep on interacting with Zeiss. Greetings YouTube, Zeiss here with another video. Now let that review speak for itself instead, okay? Like previously mentioned, Last Epoch is an ARPG, a genre I am quite fond of since I was a kid. I found out about Last Epoch recently while I was wondering what to do between the waiting Diablo 2 Resurrected Season 3 and the release of Diablo 4. No, it was not a better version of Zeiss from another reality, manifesting into this one and slapping me in the face with the game title. I discovered the game just like you now, my friend. It appears that it was originally published and finished in the year of your Lord 2019 and is being actively developed beta ever since, coming to a full release soon, hopefully. This may be a good approach because the players who like the raw playable idea may want to help improve the game through feedback while it is still a work in progress. So it could go into directions which the game's community likes and enjoys. Since I am, among many other things, also a programmer, I could certainly tell that people are usually very aware when something is wrong, but eventually, unless well guided, have hard time of expressing and explaining it in precise detail, especially the part on what kind of fix or outcome they expect, not to mention how to implement it. So, there is even a live stream Q&A with one of the developers, Mike, who answers your questions live while playing the game, showcasing things. How cool is that, huh? They are so open, it's amazing. If you like what I show you today, you can become a part of it by supporting my channel and the game developers by purchasing the game from my Nexus. I will put links to both my Nexus, where you can buy the game, and also the official Last Epoch YouTube channel in the description below, so you follow what they do for you, the player. Idea, approach, research, business plan, presentation, allowing you to take part of it. These guys very well know what they're doing a day, and they do it well whatsoever. I see the stability and great future in that. Did you? Let me know in the comments below. Before we keep delving into the space-time continuum with you, wait, I could say that? Anyway. Let me mention, I will cover everything in a very basic manner to avoid any spoilers, and that you can, in a way, experience time and space travel thanks to the sponsor of this video. Are you a content creator who currently does not have sponsorship? Or that someone who just wants to make some money online? Or you are an advertiser who wants their product or service promoted? Your problems are gone now. Sublime Revenue has got you covered. It's an online platform which connects customers and promoters with brands and designs, thoughtful experiences, and beautiful brand aesthetics. Sublime Revenue accepts both publishers and advertisers alike, with the main goal to redefine affiliate marketing, and the way they say it is, we build brands and beautiful experiences globally. If you're an advertiser, Sublime will offer you integration and promotion to build your brand integrity. And if you're a publisher like me, you could sign up using my link in the description below with the code LETS2LEVS to get yourself this juicy plus 15% revenue welcome bonus, which lasts by the end of the month you join. Since Sublime Revenue stands for both quality and quantity, its core founders have decades of experience. They seem to very well know what they're doing, and you might coin a special deal with them, so feel free to contact them for any project idea or collaboration, and they will aid in the growth of your business just like they do for many others already. Sublime Revenue. They create brands, products, and experiences that people love. First thing which hits you when you start the game is the very well done user interface and sound, and once logged in, the weird character faces on close-up, of course. Like in many other things, one first sees then hears, so let's focus on things in that particular order just a bit. Last Epoch has an amazing interface. It is well done, clear, and very easy to use and navigate through. Visuals or graphics, an extremely important element of any game, and in this one you're most probably going to like what you see, though I think some things need a little bit more work and they do get updated. My initial reactions to graphics was they are great, though at points I was left with the impression they were too cartoonish for my own taste. Anyway, they keep me immersed in the game and were not distracting. Visual clarity of what is happening on screen was incredible. Believability is top-notch, as the physics system's abstraction as you may experience it is well translated in that game. Performance was excellent at the maximum ultra settings on my RTX 2080 Super connected to a 55-inch 144Hz gaming TV. No problems there at all. Could not increase FPS limit to more than 60 though. I would rate visuals 9 out of 10 as they seamlessly align to what I was watching before I purchased and tried the game. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you. Now let's discuss the sound a little bit. While sound is often seen as secondary to graphics, it's a vital element and what can abruptly separate a good game from a great one. As a musician and former music producer and actively concerting artist among many other things, I would say the sound in general is clear and well produced. It is realistic enough to contribute to the immersion visuals already provide. I specifically enjoyed how my character's skills sound, but not all dialogue with NPCs was voiced, so looking forward to that. The main theme right after game start, being in Old Norse, immediately hit me, as I have quite the experience with Scandinavian music and I was enjoying it while I was navigating through the UI to set up the game and create my first character. And not only, it's also present throughout the game in different settings, and the music in general is simply amazing. It contributes to achieve that immersion thingy you were looking for in that premium game you tried. It's immersive and all that, but I felt at points there was something missing in that theme, which is also used as an instrumental throughout the game, like I said as well. I'm not saying it is not perfectly performed or badly produced, no, not at all. Since they decided to go that way, I could point out it just lacks that Scandinavian root specific for Scandinavian music. If you're a black metal musician, wait, that's too much, too high of a bar there. If you're a black metal fan, again, Sorry, a Scandinavian music fan at least? Then you should know what I'm talking about, as some of the best music in the world arguably comes from that specific area. Ethnic root is somehow missing to me, so that thing is like believing a tree is just what you see above the ground, while at the same time its root system spreads underground just like the branches do above, in the air. I would rate audio 8 out of 10, and I hope to hear more and more of such amazing and rich sound from Last Epoch in the future. How about you? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you. Story is what puts characters into context. You don't just run around and smash enemies for no reason, right? Right? At least not on first playthroughs. This is the heart of the game and what makes you invested in playing it. The storylines, yes plural, of Last Epoch flow well. The style may seem familiar to you if you played games which involve telechronoportation, or as it is widely known to non-scientists, time travel. That is one of the core game features of Last Epoch and an essential part of the world of Itera, which is the setting of the game. One has the opportunity to experience it differently with their characters whose background, agenda and means to completion and beyond are different by class, mastery, specialization specific to the different eras, and also the end of time, beyond which one cannot time travel, for it is the absolute endpoint in history, where all existing timelines converge. It is basically the location for endgame features, like a monolith of fate, which allows players to rediscover the possibilities of history and construct new timelines through echo webs. And it's very fun to play, really. The arena, where you could fight waves of enemies with the mode that you pick. Dungeon system with varied core mechanics, difficulty options and progression, and of course special rewards. Throughout the campaign, you will travel to different eras, complete various intriguing tasks, encounter diverse bosses and elites incorporating interesting mechanics. The lore, campaign and endgame are quite interesting, enjoyable and replayable. I will stop here to avoid any spoilers. The game includes 5 classes: Sentinel, Rogue, Mage, Primalist and Acolyte. Each of them is unique and provides separate ways of progression through 3 masteries per class. Specialization into master classes is done by taking the appropriate passive unlock node, which makes it possible to not only combine different abilities and passive bonuses from different masteries, allowing for build diversity, but to also go all in on a mastery, because picking one is final, and it also unlocks the mastery core skill, and one could specialize in only 5 skills, which you could potentially do even on character creation page by getting more information on skills, by the way. So seeking synergetic relationships between base class, mastery classes and specializations to min-max their builds and metagaming's emergent effects would most probably be on many players' minds. Every change you make feels very impactful, so let me know if you're interested in me making a video guide of builds that I played, though I assure you, making your own is so much fun and not so hard after all. Just navigate through the UI to find out what the game has to offer and take your time with it. A big shout out to my stream viewers who were bearing all this with me while I was learning a new game on the go. Thank you so very much. You are amazing, and I hope to see you around more in the future. I would rate story and characters 9 out of 10. Please let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Thank you. Systemic game design is obviously an increasingly hot topic, not only in nowadays game development. This heat coming from infused game systems could be also felt in many game-related media like articles and videos, and even in player-to-player communication, though the topic there is more about how the player is affected by those systems or how to interact with them. No one seems to talk about what makes a good system or defines exactly what makes a game systemic. Fortunately, 11th hour games does seem to stand out a bit in this very heat, though an enlightening moment here. All games use systems. Some systems, in fact, are common to many games, and systems can be made up of other systems. In a systemic game like Last Epoch, the player is consistently encouraged to interact with those systems in order to proceed or win, then replay over and over depending on need, which is great. I would merely outline some of what made the most impression to me, otherwise this could become an extremely long video. Game mode system include both offline and online play, standard and hardcore modes, and even a challenges system which one could combine in ways they see best fit their playstyle, right? I would advise against getting to know the dangers of the game in hardcore mode, especially when combined with the solo account found. Now that there's a multiplayer, not to mention the dungeon system, which may be quite challenging. Avoid fooling yourself, no matter how good you are. This game may actually surprise you, especially if you neglect defenses, which is the most common mistake in the RPG genre whatsoever. So, Dead Screen explains what exactly resulted in your death, which is very useful when you decide to start a new character after death or just replay the content. Anyway, the game seemed overall easy to understand and play through, except maybe the last campaign boss and one of the last bosses whose death introduces you to the hardest game content, so be careful on those. Being allowed to do content does not necessarily mean you should jump on it right away. Item system. Item system is very strong. The inventory is somewhat standard: helm, amulet, chest armor, belt, touring slot, gloves, boots, and the two hands, of course, where you could use either a two-handed weapon or one-handed one with a defensive item like a shield, catalyst, focus, etc. Yeah, imagine using like two shields at the same time. Is that a thing? I don't think so. There's also the relic slot, which is an additional item slot and could provide additional bonuses or even change the character completely, especially if it's a unique or a legendary one. There's also the idle space, which grows in size through the campaign, where you place differently sized idols as a homage to the gods, which provides bonuses in return, which also reminds me of the blessings you can receive after passing a god's challenge, but they are a separate thing in this game and are not itemized. There are also the crafting materials, which you can transfer to your forge to use, but that we will get to a bit later in more detail. Stash features seemed kind of nice, though not so complex, like for example in Path of Exile, though that might change with seasonal content and more unique items or legendary power being introduced to the game. You could buy additional stash tabs in the game with in-game gold, which at a later point is very easy to earn a lot of, and one could organize them stash tabs in groups, customize them with colors and icons, and so on. Stash tabs and inventory space are very large, and there's also a well-made sort items button on both, because items could take more than one field depending on item type and shape. There is no weapon swap, by the way. Item tiers, on the other hand, include white regular items with only implicit affixes, which cannot be modified, only re-rolled. Magic blue items with up to 2 explicit affixes. Yellow rare items with up to 4 explicit affixes. Purple exalted items with one of the explicit affixes being one additional tier higher than a maximum of 5. Green set items, which provide additional bonuses if you have more than one item from the set or the complete set. Brown unique items with from 3 to 5 affixes, some of which different from the ordinary ones. And red legendary items, which seem to be the items with most power. But this does not mean that lower tier items are not important. On the contrary, this is even extended by the crafting potential and legendary potential properties of each item. And when we talk about the crafting system, you may better understand why that is so, especially on the higher level above level 90. Which content, to me at least, was doable like 10 levels or more below it. There is also an item filter, which you can make on your own, export or import already created one. I would advise against using an item filter at first, in order to better get to know the item system, so you can have a better idea of build opportunities and what to expect in eventual PvP mode. Which leads me to the combat system. The components of which include the health system, resource system, attack and defense systems, damage type system, and so on and so forth. The health system seems to incorporate award and endurance systems as well. It is not just purely health, which should not drop below 0 for your character to stay alive. Ward, for example, absorbs damage before health, has no cap, but is affected by a decay over time mechanic, and it occurs more quickly the more ward you have, and it is not connected to resource. Endurance defense system could help you prevent being one-shotted. It is reducing the damage dealt to your health below your endurance threshold. Does not reduce damage dealt to ward though. There is only a health potion for now, which could be partially or completely converted to affect ward. The resource system allows you to use your abilities, and the resource value can go below 0, but since there are no potions for it, I advise against skill spam usage, because then it will take a longer gap when you could use a resource consuming ability, especially if you do combos with cooldown abilities. This could also be mitigated through affixes, including resource efficiency or resource reducing. Example given: -3 spell mana cost, or resource regeneration affixes like increased mana regen. Same applies to cooldown. It could be reduced. So your combat needs to be a little bit more strategic, which is total fun. Anyway, These systems are also affected by standard attributes like strength, dexterity, vitality, and intelligence, though 11th Hour Games also decided to include attunement. There are different resistant types present in the game, and one could easily distinguish them graphically. They are fire, lightning, cold, physical, poison, necrotic, and void, and all these plus attack types contributes to the whole picture of damage type together with spell damage, melee damage, ball damage, throwing attack damage. Both go even further with respectively block chance, armor, stun avoidance, block effectiveness, dodge, and ward retention for defense and cast speed, multiple separate attack speeds depending on melee, bow, throwing, multiple critical strike chance for each, and an overall one. Multiple stun chances per attack type. Note, ailments like ignite and poison are damage over time and cannot critically strike. If you play action RPGs, you're most probably familiar with all those systems. All these and more are separate for minions. And there are even other ones which I advise to like pause the video so you could you can just read if necessary. Basically, this system may seem complex at first, but totally makes sense and is easy to comprehend once you start progressing your character because of frequent mechanic use and reference. Remember, can't use more than 5 skills at once. This leads us to abilities system. I could say something similar for this as well. Seems insanely complex at first, but easy to understand once you start using. There are passive trees with cross-connected nodes, not only per base class, but also for each mastery class, and on top of that, for each skills you specialize in. This alone allows for unique, robust modification and optimizations of your character. Though I would advise to go for a single target skill to mostly use in elites and bosses, though it could be used in other clear. Multi-target skill for clearing mobs in general, or to support your single target skill. Third, you need a move or defense skill. Can't go anywhere without that one, right? Alright. And also, whatever else you see fit combines well with those three. Feel free to test and respec, as the game is quite cheap and forgiving on build mistakes. But wait, there's more. There's also a crafting system, and oh my, at least for now it is so easy to understand and also a must because the game is very RNG. Randomness is a huge thing here, and finding good gear that specifically fits your build best could be very hard, so crafting your own is a must all the time. Otherwise, you may not be able to progress, for example, because you don't deal enough damage and have to sustain longer fights, or your defenses to a particular attack type or ailment are too weak, and you easily may get one-shotted to death or exiting the game. Till you realize that, if a content is available to you, it does not necessarily mean you should go immediately play it. A really good advice there, hope you appreciate it. Being under-leveled or unequipped is one thing, but not being skilled in the game itself is another. And again, this game is not hard to understand and play through. I had a lot of fun with it, and most probably will have more in the future. So do it at your own pace. There is no ladder or ranking system yet. Get to know it well, and it simply feels better. Crafting system. Crafting system is brilliantly simple in this game. You have a forge where you place an item to modify. You have up to 4 to 5 with seal affixes, separated in up to 2 prefixes and 2 suffixes. Properties could be only a prefix or a suffix and could only be applied to certain item types through haptic shards with or without modifier runes and support glyphs. The UI clearly states what you can and you can't do, and when hovering above anything, I mean it explains it in detail. There's even a game guide which I did not read, by the way, because everything felt so natural to me, so I hope it will for you too. Though I died a few times, mostly because of lag, which is why it took me so long to get to the point to make this review. Anyway, every crafting step you take consumes crafting potential from the item, and when it reaches 0 you can't modify the item further, so be careful what you do. No problem if you fail a couple of times. Just try not to when crafting an important item by using runes and glyphs, which may result in a complete game changer item or items. The most fun you will have when making your own, especially when you put it to use in the world of Last Epoch. As for legendaries, the process is quite straightforward, but could be very challenging, especially finding the match item part. So how this works? Let's talk about the economy system. It's hard to mention much here because there's not only gold but also runes, glyphs, affix shards, which cannot be traded or dropped once transferred to the forge. Have in mind. Trading system seems to be a work in progress, not implemented yet, so can't tell much about value, supply or demand, except more powerful would be more valued and harder to get and more expensive. Map system. There's a timelines map, minimap, map overlay, which has opacity adjustment feature in the game options. Would be better to have hotkey for it though, as some areas are way too different and may require adjusting that opacity for a better experience. Quest system, already discussed in story part of the video. Could add, it's amazing just to play it through, though on alts I think there's an option to skip through with dungeons, which is not recommended because they are very dangerous even for the skilled and equipped player, and simply because you won't have keys to enter on first character anyway. Cosmetic system. It was present, but I could not buy or win anything. I like playing with cosmetics if it makes sense for the build. I've heard it's work in progress, so let's see about that. A note on the UI system. It is again very well made in my opinion, so if you want more detail, use it to your advantage. What I liked in particular is being able to preview the items before picking them up, especially because I was not using an item filter, so I could get to know the items of the game better and get some idea of what other classes are using. Though what seems to be best for the basic class at least is very well displayed on the character creation page. Characters are kind of equipped with some of these items on that part. There's also this thing on the map which shows you like how you grew your plus skill points and also your idle space, which is very useful, so you can prioritize quests. I would rate this fusion of systems 8 out of 10 because the ability system seems to have a major design flaw. I will get into a bit later because of like stashing cosmetic features, trading features, at least for now lack additional customization options and all that. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. What is new to you, what made the most impression to you, and so on. Thank you. Control and gameplay were unbelievably well done. It was very easy for me to control my character and minions throughout the game. I was mostly doing the combat with a PS5 DualSense controller because I have a PS5, and the maintenance things with mouse and keyboard. One could also customize to their own taste to make the game more enjoyable, which is also a plus and an accessibility extra. What I noticed is a good change. There's just swap square and triangle actions. Sometimes I was not able to pick up items from the ground with X, but I think it was item filter related. I had issues when trying to only play with the controller or only play with mouse and keyboard, but that may be just me trying to get used to the game too quickly. So I could rate control and gameplay 10 out of 10. What are your thoughts on that? Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you. I played last Epoch for almost 90 hours total so far. I even played like 15 hours straight when I first launched the game. It was very enjoyable and immersive experience, and I thought this would just be some filler game. In my opinion, this game is worth your time and money, especially having in mind that a full release is expected. It will be further developed and will include seasonal content. If you like action RPGs, enjoy genre-defining games like Diablo and Path of Exile, you're most probably going to love this one. The systems are easy enough to fathom, so you can have a great hack and slash, fun slaying monsters, clearing dungeons and echoes, defeating bosses, looking for powerful loot, crafting and min-maxing your build, especially if you read through all the things that the game has to offer. Many people may just fail because they don't read what's on their screen in general, in many things, not just in gaming. So ditch the build guides, pay attention to what is happening on your screen, and have fun crafting your own experience. If you want to support my channel because it introduced you to this amazing game, so it can make more great and I can make more great and relevant content like this, consider buying the game from the link in the description. I rate Last Epoch's playability 10 out of 10, and I'm sure it will get even better, especially if you too take a part of it. So let me know what you think in the comments below the video, of course. Thank you. I streamed the game for about 2 weeks, though I did not manage to play every single day. I think it was quite fun, especially with the people in chat. I even got trolls, so yeah, definitely fun. I liked almost everything about that game, so there's not much to talk about any further, as I allowed myself to put opinions here and there to make this more personal and not sound like a pull out of magazine kind of thing, at least not in this video, my friends. Except the respect system. Not every dialogue being voiced over, yet and some lag issue. I would like to mention this as a constructive criticism and could provide a solution, though it is up to 11th hour games to decide and implement. The voiceover thing, that should be clear. They will most probably do it. Decades ago, I founded my own company, and I have to be many things. As a sysadmin, full-stack developer, server infrastructure, and network engineer, I also understand the challenges such games teams face when orchestrating the infrastructure behind the online game world. But I am pretty sure, through enough stress testing, they will manage this with or even without external help. I did extensive testing during the lag occurrence, and I'm pretty sure the problem is not on my end. Did not have this problem again ever since. I think I was partially affected by it like 2 days in a row. to a point where I even had to stop streaming one of the times in particular because the game became unplayable. The major problem of the game to me personally is the respec passives problem but only with items which provide +2 skills. Oh my. I consider this just a design flaw, though it prevents free respecs which has not been tackled yet. Like, why not do this, for example? Have players picking options for each +1 to a skill after equipping such an item. The option could be either to get +1 to all scalable nodes at say 10% of the value of the regular point which you get from like leveling the skill. By scalable nodes I mean those nodes which you can assign more than 1 point to. And other option could be to instead use +1 point to assign an additional skill point with its full potential of a skill point, just like when leveling up the skill. Each item in the game most probably has some unique identifier, right? Like to distinguish each item by ID, because you could get more than one of the same item type, but with different or rarely the same roles. So connect that unique item data to the character's specialization data and have it store the selected options for each +1 selected option, and even be able to respect them in particular. Once that mechanism is established, optimize for speed and integrate into the UI so it happens seamlessly on the surface for when the player interacts with such items. It was just terrible. Terrible to lose like 20% critical strike chance for just taking off a helmet and placing it in the forge in order to just upgrade a tier of an affix, only to find out later you have to further respec the skill and re-level it so it functions like it used to before taking off that helmet. Oh my. Anyway, just have a simple condition to check or case check whether the assigned passive skill points come from an item or not, and handle those which do differently. A good developer could do this in what? Less than an hour? I don't know about all the complexity behind the scenes, but you know, you could work on this idea further, because the way it is now makes you wanna do things I'm not willing to mention in this video, right? Just for the sake of argument. Anyway, even doing it as simple as to what points were assigned related to each plus skill item equipped would be priceless, right? Think of it. I know you people of 11th hour games have amazing ideas and a wonderful team to implement them. I realize this project was not easy on you. I really do. So I appreciate the effort. I believe my purchase was money well spent and wish you all the best with your project, really. I'm all in. I am all in. I will play this game again and stream that most probably. In my opinion, the game could only get better. I personally provided feedback before and things got fixed the same or next day. Community is friendly. The game is getting more and more popular, especially since multiplayer was introduced. This inclines there is more to come, and 11th Hour Games codenames their patch version releases. There is new one announced just now, and this implies there's going to be seasonal content which may stay in the core game post-launch, which on its own, and if you are a fan of the action RPG genre, makes the game worth investing in both your money and your time right now, so you could better follow the development, understand the changes, and take a role in it by at least providing feedback and reporting bugs, thus resulting in the game having a better official launch for everyone, you included, because you're going to see players out there. I believe this is a great way for getting more out of your buck So I did it. And I give it a solid 9 out of 10 for the stage it is in right now. So if you not only want to craft your own experience with the characters and the game has to offer, but also helping crafting the game you like, you better click on that link and get your credit card ready. So I can see you too in the world of Etera, even today. So let's wrap it up. Visuals 9 out of 10, sound 8 out of 10, story and characters 9 out of 10, systems 8 out of 10, control and gameplay 10 out of 10, replayability 10 out of 10, game as a whole experience so far 9 out of 10. I give it an average score of solid 9 out of 10. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Have you played this game? What character class? What did you like and dislike? How did you like and dislike it? Why? Did I miss something? Should I do extra content on this game in the future? Again, if you like this review and want to support my channel and the game developers of 11th Hour Games, I am posting a link to my Nexus where you can purchase the game and enjoy it yourself. So, see you guys on my next live stream or video or in the world of Etera. Take care.